Everyone in the service industry has a story. Crazy customers, wild orders, and WTF moments. Do you want to start a tab? The podcast here to bring you those tales from behind the bar. I fucked up on the same part as I did last episode. My name's Carl. I'm going strong in the bartending world for 13 years.
My name's Riley. I frequent the industry.
frequent the industry.
Yes.
Yes, you do. You do it very, very well. All right. What we like to do on this lovely little podcast is read stories about the hospitality industry through the eyes of the guest or the worker. Was the situation handled correctly? Should it have been handled differently? Was there a hero, an asshole? We rate the story 1 through 5. 1 being your, we see that every day. 5 being, holy shit, I've never seen that before.
Right.
This is amazing. And also about this podcast is this is a learning time for everyone here. Right. Because a lot of people who listen to this podcast probably aren't in the hospitality industry, and they obviously go to restaurants and bars, and sometimes they don't know what the fuck to do. So we like to help them on their journey,
right,
of being the best guest possible.
Yes.
Because if you're the best guest possible, you're going to be treated amazing.
In theory.
In theory.
Sometimes you just get those servers and bartenders that are just awful.
That is right. So we also like to indulge in adult beverages, and this is the same beverage we were still drinking last time because we blew through that last episode pretty fast. They're 2 short stories. So We're still drinking kind of a penicillin, but whatever. It is what it is. So I fucked up. These glasses don't work. I need a refund. So, but cheers, my love.
Cheers.
All right. You got a cutie?
I do.
Let's hear your cutie.
Well, I read first last time. It's your turn to read first.
Okay, if you twist my arm. So I went into the Bartender subreddit, and this was posted 4 hours ago.
Ooh.
It's from Degenerate Cookie.
Love it.
Yeah. And the title is, I think my only option is to date another industry folk.
Oof. Yes, probably.
Because trying to date anyone with a 9 to 5 or even an earlier schedule seems damn near impossible. Even trying to hold a conversation via text sucks. Plus, I feel like no one else would really understand how I feel after a shift other than someone who has done it or just did. Anyone have any thoughts, advice? Sincerely, one lonely bartender. So, oh my God.
My alternative is healthcare.
Healthcare, yeah. Like someone that works in an ER,
right.
Or someone that has
a
nurse. Someone like that. But this is obviously, it's not really a story, but it is something that a lot of people deal with. And what's kind of funny is in that bartender meme group I'm in Facebook, someone else did the same thing. It's hard to find someone I'm dating. I'm a bartender, blah, blah, blah. I live in a town where everyone knows each other, blah, blah, blah. And this and that. I can't find anyone. And my comment was, it's because you live in a small town, has nothing to do with your bartender. Because if you know everyone.
Right.
You ran out of the pool already.
Right.
Like that. That's just living in a small town.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you even live in
have to go the next town over.
Right.
Or 2 towns over. Depending on how small and close they are.
But like even in the city of Dubuque, we're 60,000. And I know a lot of bartenders have issues finding people to hang out with, date, have any relationship, not even a sexual relationship, but just even any human relationship.
Right.
With.
Well, and I mean, that comes down to your hours.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you hang out with, most people hang out with their friends after work or on days off. And when you are a bartender or a server or you work in the restaurant industry, your time off or your busy times are their times off.
Right. Like Fridays and Saturdays. That is when you make your money.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's when everyone normally goes out to do shit. And you're missing all these functions, events, and things.
And you don't make your you don't make your money at lunch.
Unless you live in LA.
Unless you're in a corporate area or,
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things I think a lot of other people don't think about. Like, that's why a lot of people dip their pen in the ink in the company ink. Because why? But it's true though.
No, I hate that phrase.
You have ink, I have a pen.
Gross. Stop it.
But I mean, I think that's half the reason true because you're working these high stress situations.
High adrenaline.
You get through it together, and you become like connected in some way. Then afterwards, you go pound a bunch of drinks, and next thing you know, you talk to a girl on Facebook.
Yeah, who was who was actually working in retail at the time, so it's kind of similar.
You worked second shift. You had similar hours to my bartending
No,
hours.
I did not. I worked 2 jobs. I went to work at 8 a.m.
Yeah, but you also worked
but
at
I
family.
also worked until midnight.
Right, so that's the job. But anywho, it's not about you and me. It's about everyone else.
Right.
But it is hard. Like it would be hard. Like if I was single trying to date someone now, working the hours I work, or that I'm about to go work for back bartending, that you're just like, I don't even know how I would even do it.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's the only, like, if you're going to do that, the only advice that Carl would give you is find somebody in the industry that doesn't feed into your bullshit.
works at the next bar down the block.
Well, no, just like with the restaurant industry, there's a certain culture that you can fall into of partying and going too hard,
Right.
too often.
Right.
And if you find a person that's going to do that with you, you're going to have a bad time in the end.
I know a couple bartenders in this town. That's what they do, and those relationships last 6 months at the most because.
And it goes down in a blaze of glory.
I don't think it's glory, but I think it goes down.
It's a glorious blaze.
That boat is sinking like a motherfucker in the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah, I think again, some people who don't work in the industry don't even think about it because they have a normal 9 to 5. They have found someone that's easier to go find, to go socialize with. Because like when a bartender, you can't go on a date. You can go on dates at 8, 9 in the morning, but you're going to have fucking breakfast. You're going to have some coffee, but usually at night, it's easier to go have a couple drinks, dinner.
Right.
Like just, it's a different vibe for sure.
Right. Or you end up hanging out with bartenders after hours and you end up going to the strip club because that's the only place open that you can still drink, but that's not home. Yeah. And then you run into somebody you went to college with and then it gets awkward. Yeah.
Not a personal experience at all. Not at all. I don't think there's really actually no rating, I don't think, for the store because this is I guess at the end of the day we can call it 1.5.
Yeah.
It's an average thing that happens to a lot of bartenders.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing. But if you do have someone, let's say if we were starting to date and then I go into being a bartender when I never have, or a server, and got to start working these crazy hours, it puts a strain on that relationship.
Yeah.
Especially if your partner has a 9 to 5. Now you're never going to see each other.
Right.
I mean, that was a lot of our relationship for the first couple of years. We never saw each other a lot.
Yeah.
But I was already in the industry. You were already working a lot. So we already had this connection of we both work crazy fucking hours and we're okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a lot of talking. And I get like text messages fucking hard to keep.
I mean, we still have that issue where you'll text me and I won't respond for 6 hours.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can find somebody who's okay with that, then it works.
Yeah. But luckily you're my Duchess already, so. Hear that, folks? You hear that? It's the sound of disappointment. So if you have a story similar to this, or if you have a love story that is just going strong.
Yes, either in the industry, between 2 people in the industry, or separate. We would love to hear them.
Steve and his significant other both work at the same restaurant, and they've been going together now for 4+ years, I think, or maybe 5 now.
But they haven't always worked at the same restaurant, have
That's
they?
how they met.
Oh, okay.
I got the story of how they met.
I'm thinking of a different Steve.
Oh, I'm thinking Steve, Baltimore Steve.
Yeah.
So we love to hear it. Check the show notes of the podcast that you're listening to this on, or the player that you're listening to this on. We have a subreddit. Do you want to start a tab? Or if you'd like to call us and tell your little love story, call us at 563-277-0072.
Are you okay?
No. Let's go with your cute little
Let's roll the
story.
tape. This story is from Tales from Your Server, subreddit, from Coin Murderer. That's the username.
Yeah, I got
Coin
that.
Murderer.
Yeah.
And it's called "We Have 86 Spring Rolls Left."
Oh my God.
A quick but fun story. I used to be a manager, server, bartender at a pub. I loved it. I worked with mostly great people, and I loved our regulars. One day, I'm bartending a full bar at night with a new girl who's only working part-time while she's in high school. She's running food. She comes from the back and says, "Coin murderer. Manager wanted me to let you know that we have exactly 86 spring rolls left." Right away, the 86 caught my ear, and I knew the message she was trying to convey. I said in a friendly way, "He said that we have exactly 86 left?" He counted and wanted me to know that. And she says, "Yes, that's exactly what he said." I tell her, "Can you just go back and double check for me?" I'm not being an asshole. I said it with no attitude and a smile. I realized she didn't know what the term 86 meant, and we got along well, so I figured she'd appreciate learning in a funny way. "Okay, sure." She goes back, and a minute later walks up to the bar with her head half down and a sheepish look on her face, and she says, "We're out of spring rolls." I thought it was funny that to someone new, they thought a manager really counted each spring roll, and it felt urgent for me to know that there were only 86 left. And for those unaware, the term 86 means that a restaurant is completely out of an item.
Right. That is awesome. That's so cute.
Right?
Because like, 86, like you don't hear the ED part of like
Right.
86th, and all
Right.
she hears, But that's awesome that he's just go back there and confirm
Just check for
that
me.
he counted 86 spring rolls.
And then the first comment is, "One of our new hires got triple sat. Fast walks by me and throws her hand up. 'I'm in the grass.'" She meant in the weeds, but it was adorable.
Oh my God, that's funny.
It's adorable.
That is so adorable. That's funny.
I mean, everybody who's worked in the industry has a story of either how they learned 86 or like for me, it was marrying the salts. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
I'm trying to remember what terms I didn't get at first. Probably, obviously, it was some mixology terms I didn't understand, like extra dry. Oh, it was definitely the extra dry because I thought it would be extra dry vermouth because common sense says
Right. Extra dry vermouth
put
means
the
you add more of it. Yeah.
more of it. It's like the only reverse term that
Right.
I'm aware of in the mixology world or cocktail world, whatever. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And it's like with me though, most people who I've been training have been in the hospitality industry at some point, so it's hard
Right.
to like find that fresh of a person,
Right.
to see that happen.
And she was a high schooler, so.
Yeah, that's definitely probably where it would come from,
Yeah.
like high schoolers and stuff like that. So we are. That's just funny. This is a cute little story.
It was just. I mean, there's not really much to say about it. 86 means you're out of it. Yeah. Nobody really knows the origin of it.
There's a couple of scenarios.
There's a
but
couple of specific.
It was like 86
theories.
Main Street or something like that.
Yeah, well, and then there's the military code 86 is AWOL. Mm-hmm. So absent without leave. So if your item is absent without leave,
we didn't tell you you could go. But go because you're making us money.
But I don't like 86 is you're done. Like it's gone. You're done.
I do remember when I worked down at Caroline's at the hotel. They would never have an 86 board. I'm like, why don't you guys have this? Like, we just remember. I go, no one's ever going to remember everything that we're out of, especially there's different servers every fucking day.
Well, and sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how many meals that restaurant
right.
serves.
And so I put it on there, and people would never update it. I'm like, how do you guys ever remember? This is so stupid. Like, well, they'll find out when they ring it in. I go, well, that's bad customer experience because now that server has to go back to the table and say, I'm sorry, we're out of this. But they could have already handled it.
Right.
Like, hey, here's what we have. Unfortunately, we're out of this to this tonight.
Right.
I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird how fucking people work
Right.
and like make the job too hard. It's like,
right. We have 86 spring rolls left.
I want a spring roll. Don't forget to tip your bartender, drink responsibly, and don't be an asshole.
Don't be a dick. Also, we didn't rate that story.
Oh,
It's a 1.5.
it's a 1.5.
But don't be a dick. Tip your bartenders.
Don't be an
and drink
asshole.
responsibly.
Tip your hospitality industry server, bartender. That is the worst intro ever.